it's time to go racing. No formation lap for us. Moist on top, with Ricky Maru down the inside. Both drivers away nice and quickly from the start. This looks like a good start for both of them, and the row behind as well, as the drivers just taking it fairly steadily into the corner. Ricky Maru screams into the lead, but that's perhaps not the best place to be. Ricky Maru is disappearing. This is a tremendous performance from Ricky. I don't want to cut away from this battle, and it's going to be a drag to the line, but Ricky Maru comes out of the final corner. Absolute dominant pace from Ricky Maru tonight in the V-Carb. Takes the first win of the Season 3 Championship here in Bahrain. And behind him, Alpha Alex is going to take the drag to the line all the way to the finish, and ARL will secure third position after all. Our final corner looms for Merckx. He debuts with us here at the International Racing League and wins the Spanish Grand Prix by just 3.6 seconds in the end from Ricky Maru, who took him to the penultimate lap and pushed him incredibly hard. Double champion Maestro Moist finishes the race and rescues good points for the eventual championship that is almost certain to come to him towards the end as we head into the final lap of the race. Surely now Ricky is going to have to go for it. We're going to have a drag finish out of the final corner, I feel, as Ricky late on the brakes, locking up slightly. Was that a little wiggle from the front wing? Merckx has got the rear red light flashing. Here goes Ricky for the lead of the race on the final lap, but is it too early? We will see, as Ricky using the ERS, he's now got the red light flashing. I think he's got it if he can hold the inside line down the outside. Runs the kick Sauber. It's Ricky versus Merckx to the line. Merckx just getting the overlap, but who will get it to the end? It is going to be Merckx just from Ricky Maru. Ollie with a +3 penalty, but that could not have been much closer. But coming out of the final corner, club corner, it's Merckx to win the sprint. It's Moist following incredibly closely, but Merckx, the merciless, takes another race win here. But Merckx wins race 3, his third race and race 4 of the championship. 3 from 4 for Merckx. Absolutely peerless. I guess 4 from 5 if you count the sprint. Wow, as Moist goes 2 wheels in the air to finish out this race. He'll cross the line, but Milan will take second and Moist third. Here comes Merckx, though, to make it 4 Grand Prix from 5, and he's only contested 4 of them. The Belgian Grand Prix goes to Merckx, and round 5 of the championship, Moist, though, will be scoring heavily against the missing Ricky Maru. So Moist into second place and scoring good points for his championship hunt here, at least to try and climb up from the mired of the midfield for the double world champion. Then comes Leon to cross the line, but I think it's going to be Milan, and it could even be ARL. Here we go then to cross the line. Milan up and crosses the line into the podium positions. Oh, it's all over again. Ricky with a second time penalty as he pushes to win. You've got to admire relentless Ricky Maru for doing his level best here to try and secure the win. Tremendous stuff from Ricky, but ultimately too hard, too fast against track limits and too wide on the track. And wow, that is 6 seconds plus for Ricky. Then he's going to come through Ravazza and he's cruising, I think. He's going to be kicking himself, but what a battle we had in that race. Ricky Maru crosses the line, but Merckx will win the 5th race in a row here at Imola. An amazing feature race. Ricky losing out by 2.5 seconds total at the end. Ole coming through.
Well, good evening, race fans, and a very warm welcome to you and to the International Racing League. This is the round 7 of Season 3, and we're at the Miami Grand Prix circuit for a next thrilling showdown between what I hope to be our championship contenders, Ricky Maru and Merckx, and whether anybody else can feature in the battle. Can Ricky Maru stay away from track limits tonight? With the walls pretty close in, he should be able to try and avoid those late race issues. But this is Webbo here for your commentary, and looking forward to tonight's race. I hope you enjoyed the little preview there of the season so far, the story of the season so far, at least on the podium. And let me talk to you a little bit as we get down trackside for our fun here for the standings for this after 6 races. Merckx is on top with 6 overall race wins, 5 Grand Prix, 4 pole positions and 136 points. If you didn't know better, you'd think it was Moist all over again, wouldn't you, after the first 2 seasons of dominance from Moist? But Ricky Marou, Relentless Ricky, has 2 wins and 3 second places coming behind Merckx there on 88 points in total. Milan is in 3rd at the moment with 1 podium. AJ, or ARL, has 1 podium to his name, but 66 points overall. And down in 5th position is Moist, our double world champion, the Maestro. Only has 62 points. Director Ollie is in 6th. He has 50. Speedy Spud 1 point behind. Then comes Leon on 24. We have a close run battle in the midfield with Sticky on 19, Alpha Alex on 18, Floyd Pink on 14, Waitsy has 13, Marco 11, a 3-place tie in Transic Nike and Jay, and then comes Chuck Norris, Lemmy, Jaffa Jake, Techno Tim, with Triple Bay yet to score. Triple Bay has scored, Urchin has not yet, and then we have Studio Atsu and Frontline, who have also competed in this championship battle. Can't wait to talk to you a little bit further about the season, and especially our Constructors Championship in a few moments. But if you're joining us, thank you so much first of all, and if you're joining us live, do say hello, tell me who you're here to support, and what you make of what you're watching so far. And if you don't have a driver that you follow yet, tell me who wins your heart over the course of today. I know that ARL, or AJ, had his own battle to make the race today after coming back from, I have to say, yet another vacation. He's a very, very lucky guy. But first out on track is usually AJ. Sometimes that hasn't worked out great for him. But it looks like we've got an Alpine out there first of all, and it might well be Davy Norris. It is in fact Davy Norris out on track first of all to sample the Miami Grand Prix venue. Miami lately has managed to suffer several onslaughts from Hurricane Debbie. But it looks like it's all still and calm there in the Miami paddock for today's race at very least. So let me just grab hold of our standings for the constructors as well. I will try and select the correct server this time. And here we have VCarb lead the way on 154 points. The combination of Ricky Marou and AJ doing a great job there, with Kick Sauber mostly scored by Merck the Merciless on 136. Williams have 87. Aston Martin, the double champions, only 73 at this stage, level with Haas. Then come McLaren on 69, Red Bull on 19. Ferrari have 18 points. Alpine 10, and Mercedes just 2, but hardly ever have a driver to represent them. 13 drivers take on qualifying for you tonight. And AJ says if he doesn't black out in the race, that's a win. Never drive and drink. Ricky, didn't you listen to Nico Rosberg? Anyway, on board with David Norris for the first lap here, and into the tight turn 1, just over 90 degrees before a sweeping S section of turns 2 and 3, which becomes another S section of turns 4, 5 and 6, slowing slowly down into the tightening apex of turn 7. 8 is a fairly nothing corner by the time you've dealt with turn 7 here. This is 8, and then it is flat out for one of the longest sections on the calendar, bested I think only by Azerbaijan's straight. But down the South Straight here, at the Miami International Circuit before heading down into the braking zone for turn 11. Now it gets tricky and very technical, and this is where the drivers might come unstuck. If they come unstuck anywhere with track limits, it's going to be through this section. The Max Verstappen bollard is about to greet Davy Norris. It was just to the right of that moment, that little understeery lock-up moment as he went through there, and then powering out of turn 16 for another super long DRS straight here on the north side of the circuit. And it's almost done, this circuit. It's a very short one. I've just been commenting over the Nordschleife, so it's quite strange to be suddenly on a very short circuit. We are braking heavily, missing the apex slightly for turn 17 before 18 and 19 are flat out switchbacks, especially in the dry, and closing out the first lap there is Davy Norris with a 129.349. And who else is out on track? We have Atsu in the Kick Sauber, brother to relentless Ricky Moreau, but he's Merck's teammate, so a slight conflict of interest there. Alpha Alex goes fastest, a 127.6. The story of our championship is, so far, who can stop the merciless Merck, who has won every Grand Prix and sprint he has contested so far. No, not sprint, excuse me. He's won one of the sprints he's contested so far. Ricky Moreau on a 126.7. Atsu, the brother, goes about 0.8 of a second slower on a 127.531. We've got our double world champion Moist just cycling through the second sector at the moment and getting that Aston Martin through the tight twisty turns that Fernando Alonso has struggled with in the past, before powering out of what is ultimately the last major turn on the circuit. We have one more big braking zone to get right, but as soon as that's done and dusted, hopefully we will be all done with this lap. My thanks go out to Flo Pink for always reposting my stream. I appreciate that, and all of your support in any way that you can. And there goes Strike Moist on a 126.5, goes fastest to start with, but of course Merck has yet to post the time. He is in the first sector only, and he typically takes a much cooler approach to qualifying than his rivals. Tends to put in one or even two fewer fast laps than anybody else. He just seems to have a way of dialing it in really, really quickly. It's Moist from Ricky Moreau, from Ollie, the usual suspects at the front and within 0.4 of a second, the top three of each other. You've got Jaffa Jake out there in P4 and Atsu in 5th with Alpha Alex, ARL, Chuck Norris and Davy Norris at the back of the grid at the moment. The two Norrises are 29.1 and a 29.3 respectively. Flo Pink, Sticky, Leon are still to Ridges at times, as is Merck as we ride on board with him. Oh, getting very sideways and almost lost it on the second save. But I would imagine that has slowed him. He got a purple second sector for himself, of course, but hopefully he'll be okay in just a moment. Now, we're going to wait for the braking zone. Don't wait too long here. And I don't know if he's now decided to cruise this lap out. I think he's coming into the pits. Didn't like the exit of that technical sector on the approach to the stadium before running down in front of the stadium. Floyd Pink is on track. We've got outlaps for Sticky and for Leon, but yet to make headway. And I think Merck is just one of those drivers who likes a peak condition racetrack or doesn't like to run because sometimes he does have these issues at the very start of these qualifying sessions, but always seems to come good at the end. And if I'm building him up too much, I don't apologise, because we really need to see someone else win a race. But that takes nothing away from the achievement of Merck. But it would be great to see somebody else feature on the top step since he started running with us. Moist has dominated this league in the past. He's coming back to form slowly but surely since we had the complete handling overhaul, as Alec Lee is here to support Floyd Pink. Floyd gets an awful lot of support in our channel, but he's coming into the pits and he's playing with you now, toying with your affections, and just waiting till he had a good mention on the stream before coming into the pits and disappointing you, just keeping you waiting, keeping you watching. But Sticky is powering out of that turn 16 now. DRS is on and we run I would say DRS is on. It doesn't actually open for some distance down this straight, and I think that is going to get shorter and shorter, that DRS deployment point. Braking heavily then, and missing the apex is sticky. I think this track, pretty green, as we say, pretty low grip at this stage of qualifying, but there are only 10 minutes remaining. Sticky posts a time of 1:28.843, but will that help him stick in 9th, or will he have to go? Again, Leon is the last driver out pounding the pavement on track, but he's invalidated this lap, unfortunately. So we wait then for the next of the runners, and I think that's going to be Ole or Jaffa Jake. Let me just check out. Yeah, it's going to be Ole first. He's in 3rd position at the moment, 1:26.9. Needs to find 0.4 of a second to get himself up onto the provisional pole position of our grid. And the McLaren, as we all know, goes very nicely around Miami. Even if that's just a little psychological boost with our equal performance cars, it's not going to hurt, is it? But he's not wearing its Miami special livery, unfortunately. But hopefully we'll get that organised and get that uploaded into the game soon enough. It's Q1. It is round 7 of the championship, and I'd love to hear what your prediction for pole position is. Not just who, but what time indeed. Will we get lower than our 1:26.5? You have to suspect so. But how much lower will we go as we get ready for the next runs in qualifying? And we'll join Ole on board as he starts his next bid for pole position. Down into turn 1. The inside tyre frequently locking up on this year's cars, and that still hasn't really fixed. But it doesn't seem to hurt the lap times too greatly. We've got yellow flags posted all over the circuit, but don't worry about that. Tends not to bother the drivers too much as we head then down into the tightening turn 7, and then turn 8, just a traction zone before we go through what is known as turn 9 and 10, but honestly not really a turn. It kind of reminds me of Valencia many years ago, before we head for the braking zone down into officially turn 11, one of the best overtaking zones on the track, and we just hook that tyre up and just lock it up slightly, running then through the very slow switchback and with an extreme gradient change, and the car gets super unloaded through there. You really need to avoid that bollard. Out of turn 16 we go, full throttle, foot to the floor here, all the way through down to over a kilometre before the braking zone for turn 17. We're waiting. Nothing to do here. Just hope that there's nobody going to be featuring on the final portion of our lap, as Ole comes through then with just a acceleration zone to go. Can he improve from his 3rd position? He goes straight to pole, a 1:26.5. That was fast from Ole. A good lap from Ole, and Merckx playing it very cool and just waiting in the pits for one final opportunity. Ricky is already 0.4 of a second up into the first sector alone from his best, and that will be enough to see him take the provisional pole at this stage of qualifying. Getting very locked up on that inside tyre again, that front left struggling away. Now braking heavily and just hopping the car over. You can just deal with a small amount of bounce, but you just touch the throttle as the car lands back down, and before it has landed, it will spin you straight out into the wall. There goes the beep, there goes the DRS, and Ricky has just a little way to go before he can close this lap out and see if he can get back on that front row of the grid. Provisionally, Floyd Pink gets a 5-place grid penalty with Leon, and that is not going to please his fans or the stewards. Ricky goes onto provisional pole. It's getting tight and close. It is 0.02 of a second between Ricky and Ole. Moist is in the pits too. Jaffa Jake is out there. We've got a crash, I think, or at least a stationary car on the exit of turn 16, but it's not worrying Jaffa Jake too much. He dealt with that okay. I don't think it cost him a huge amount, but I did join him perhaps a little bit too late, as the almost entirely carbon fibre Alpine runs down in towards that braking zone. Now misses the apex in a big way, does Jaffa Jake, and so much so that he comes into the pits. Doesn't like the lap at all. Atsu, the next one on a lap at the moment. He's 1.7 seconds down on this particular point through sector 2, I believe. So this may not prove to be particularly useful lap. We shall wait and see though. Following in another driver's tyre smoke. we go into that turn 11. Really, turn 11, turn 17, your big overtaking points. Perhaps turn 1 in the first couple of laps or on a restart, maybe. But essentially, that will also, those are the end of the respective DRS zones as well, and obviously help that overtaking opportunities. We keep running, and we run down towards that braking zone then to finish out the lap with Atsu. We've still got drivers in the pits. Those are Merckx, Moist and Ricky Maru, the main challengers here for our title. Atsu comes into the pits just to spoil any chance of action on track that we might have seen, and we've got ARL just weaving a little bit, and I think he's in overtake mode, I believe. So that was pretty confident to be weaving around like that heading into turn 11 if he is on a fast lap. I think probably not for ARL here. Still waiting on ARL to change his gamer tag back to AJ, so we don't get too confused. Now, what is going on with the steering wheel action here? I think possibly we are just we're just doing a charge lap, so we are just warming the tyres. We haven't started our next lap. Ole is out there. I think ARL the car most out of position at this stage, but into the pits after our tyre warm-up phase. 3 minutes 33 to go. We are down to the final laps of qualifying, and Moist is out there, and he's pushing hard, and he's 9 thousandths of a second up in the first sector. We'll find out his second sector time. That was aggressive out of the corner. He's now 2/10 almost of a second up, and that is enough for provisional pole position. It only takes Merckx to make the smallest mistake in his one shot of qualifying, essentially, to end up having to fight for this win in a way that would be most entertaining from the back of the grid. Moist hooking up the apexes neatly and tidily. I think will carry the speed through to the final sector, and he didn't do enough. He ended up that final sector just slightly too easy. He was taking that at the end, so we'll join Sticky, who is up by nearly a second here, and he needs to be, because he needs just over a second to make up 2 places only and get off that 10th position. David Norris, Floyd Bink have retired. Sticky goes up to 8th and gains 1.2 seconds on that lap. The field tightening up now, and we wait for the final laps. I don't know if Moist has got any ERS left to deploy. Let's have a look, shall we? He has some, but not a lot. So I think he'll be coming into the pits, and I don't think he'll have enough time to go around again. It may well be that Moist starts no better than 3rd position, and we wait for the likes of Merckx, Ricky, to rejoin the track. Ollie is here, though, in P2 at the moment, and he's up by enough, 0.05 of a second. He's up by enough to take pole position after the first sector only. So, just trying to find the straightest route to turn 11 down the long banana straight, pretty much, of the south side of the circuit. Braking hard and balancing the car, the tiniest correction through the Mickey Mouse section and out of the corner. He's now 1.5 of a second up, looking to maybe get a toe off the car in front, but it was going too slowly to really help for any decent spell of braking heavily once again down towards that apex, but missing it by a good 2 meters, I would say, from optimal. Ollie running out of soft tyres towards the end of this lap. Is it enough? Though it is enough for provisional pole position. 0.2 of a second in front of Ricky Maru goes Ollie, and we still wait for Merckx outlap to finish, and it will be there very soon. So where is Ricky on track? He is coming through this final corner to start his outlap, to start his main lap. Merckx is just behind him on track, so it's going to be Ricky versus Merckx, just a few meters apart on the racetrack, as they have been every time they've contested the same race so far this season. And we'll ride then with the fastest of the two as they run through. Ricky getting a little bit oversteery into turns 3 and 4 perhaps, but maybe that will be what he needs. Getting the power down as early as possible. That is up by 1.165 of a second. Merckx, he's a 29.4 in his next lap. So I don't know how that references Ricky at this stage. I will try and remember Ricky's time as he heads down towards the end of Sector 2 now. He's just got the switchback technical section to go. There's lots of fans watching here. Over the crests we go. Really difficult corners to navigate. And Ricky through on a 101.191 and just the tiniest bit up. And he's not up enough. He needs a monster final sector. And I don't think Merckx is quite on Ollie's pace at this stage. They're going to need to absolutely muller this final sector of the racetrack. Ricky, again, missing the apex slightly, but that didn't seem to hurt Ollie. Here comes Ricky, bidding for pole. I think it's going to be only second best here. Crosses the line. He was almost 0.2 of a second faster was Ricky, but it wasn't enough. Merckx goes from P13 to P1 in qualifying. Astounding lap when it mattered. 125.937 when it mattered most. Merckx, the merciless, made it happen. Absolutely incredibly cool head on that Kick Sauber driver's shoulders. What a finish that was. Nobody had a 125 on the predictions, but it's going to be Merckx, Ollie, Ricky Maru and Moist with Alpha Alex and Jaffa Jake on the third row. What a tremendously competitive qualifying we just had. That sets us up for a great race with the potential, of course, of safety cars with the walls so close here at Miami. So we'll be getting you the qualifying results soon to come, and almost there. So people were asking if Merckx was doing last to first challenge here, and then there was a flurry of never mind comments in the chat. Instead of incredible there. So folks, here is your qualifying result. We have Merckx the Merciless back on pole again, this time by 3.5 of a second. Astounding pace from nowhere from Merckx. Then comes Ollie in second, Ricky Maroon third, and Strike Moist the Maestro in fourth position. Alpha Alex has fifth, Jaffa Jake sixth, Leon in seventh, and Atsu in eighth. We have Sticky in ninth. ARL low down on medium tyres though in 10th to save some soft tyres for the race. 11th is Chuck Norris, 12th is Davey Norris, and 13th is Thanks a lot, Waitsy. I appreciate that. I've been commentating this whole time, and unfortunately, there was a problem on my microphone. Thank you so much, Waitsy. I really appreciate it. Thanks to Jessica for saying hello as well. We've had 2 changes for the lead. We've had Merck take Ollie. We've had Ricky Maru catch up behind. But yeah, that was my bad on that front. So thank you so much to Waitsy for that. Here comes Merck then. He's now back into the lead. He's got a half-second gap here to Ricky Maru. Strike Moist is down in third, and we build the tension through this race. It looks like Strike Moist is moving backwards towards fourth place, and rather than forwards towards Ricky and Merckx, who are raising the stakes, raising the pace here, as they usually do. So I really appreciate that, Waitsy, for the pickup. Yeah, that was an issue here, but sorted now. It's lap 7. That was a big switch, big correction there for both cars as they went through turn 5, and just the ever tightening turn 7. Ricky getting a little bit scrappy now. These medium tyres well into their sweet spot, maybe gone through the sweet spot now on lap 6, and they will try to use one pit stop here and try and hold it for a potential run at a safety car that could eventuate. Moist is 3 seconds away from these two and is unable to live with the pace of both Ricky and Merckx. Ricky coming up second to Moist in the previous season, and so far coming up second to Merckx. There's a penalty for Moist, very unusual, just shows how hard he's having to push here, and Ricky was just the rear light was flashing for a moment on the previous straight, but as they close down, it looks like it's all good now for Ricky Maru in second place, but half a second, and he's not been able to overtake Merckx as he did a couple of laps previously. So trying to get into that final braking zone and make a pass. But Ole, who had the pace to get himself into second on the grid, he has now, we've got Leon seeing Jaffa Jake battle close behind. Looks like Ricky might be too far away to go for a lead, and I know I've been neglecting the rest of the field recently because of Ricky and Merck's amazing displays. That looked for all the world like Leon fancied the DRS rather than the P5, because Jaffa Jake just stole a march into turn 6 and took the position very, very sweetly. ARL is closing in on this group as well after a poor qualifying. Qualifying just 10th for him. And then we have Chuck Norris there chasing down Atsu as well. Looks like Leon might be close enough for a launch, but no cigar this time. Atsu is very defensive, but I think round the outside will come Chuck Norris in the Red Bull. Atsu braking very late to the apex, as he has every right to do. Chuck Norris trying to hold for the second apex of the of turn 12. Oh, and that's a spin. I didn't see if there was any contact, but he was offline, and that will be cooler on the track. That will be worse on the tyres. There'll be marbles out there, and unfortunately, Chuck Norris, that didn't come off best out of that particular battle. It looks like Ricky has slipped out of DRS as well. He's so determined to avoid late track limit penalties. Is he being too cautious this time? Is he overcorrecting to that extent? As down into turn 1 we go with Jaffa Jake in the Alpine chasing Leon's 5th place in the Haas. We have then just slightly ahead, we've got Ole, who has caught Moist wearing a penalty already, and Ole with a chance here to close in. Merckx is 1.2 seconds in front of Ricky Maru, but anything could still happen, and that was Moist getting very, very wide running into turn 7 and almost off the circuit. So that will help Ole make this pass now, I feel, with the DRS open now, and surely the McLaren will find it very easy to slip round the outside. Someone has just put in a huge tyre burn up into turn 11, and I think that was Ricky, because then Ollie did exactly the same thing. It's lap 9 of 29. We're approaching that 1/3 distance where the mediums start to cry, change me, frankly. But Ricky holding the gap, not letting it get too far out of sight, but certainly not able to run in the DRS zone of Merckx and gain anything from that. Moist gets the place back on the second DRS zone. Well, technically, I suppose the third, if you count the start-finish mini straight. But Moist goes back into P3, and this won't hurt them in their chase down for Ricky. They're currently 6 seconds away from Ricky in second. It's lap 10. No pit stops just yet, but pit stops will be happening pretty damn soon for those medium runners. The hard runners will try and get through to the mid-distance at least, and then run lighter and longer on the mediums than the drivers have from the start when they're heavy with fuel. No refueling, of course, so they run start to finish closely calculated fuel loads. Here comes Ollie once again, closing up, and presumably going to be able to pass here with the DRS zone on the South Straight. And does so very easily. In fact, swipes around to the outside for the ideal braking point and still locks up that inside front tyre. Merck leads Ricky out in front, some 6.5 seconds now in front of Ollie, who's just had to waste a little bit of time getting past Moist again, which might reverse itself here down the North Straight, past that enormous ramp that I want the cars to drive up as well. That's a slip rate. And to the inside, Ollie just giving Moist the inside line, making him go on the dirty side of the track. And it's another, I think, pass from Moist. Yes, it is. And Floyd Pink, 3-second time penalty there, unfortunately for him. Leon is close behind these two, and Ollie grabs back that P3 once again. And he would really like to dispatch Moist here and go on the hunt for Ricky Maru, or at least not waste too much time with each other. If they can work together, they can bring each other close to Ricky, who isn't using DRS at the moment. But Ricky is now out to nearly 2 seconds away from Merck, still within range, definitely, of a good in-lap or an undercut, overcut situation, as Moist gets the grip down to the apex of turn 7 beautifully this time. No trouble like he had previously, and will unlock that DRS and head to pass the McLaren once again, I think, around the outside this time, who closes the door to Leon, who was looking hungrily at 4th place for a moment there. Ricky gaining a slight amount in the last couple of sectors, but Moist back into 3rd place. We have, that was Moist, just hitting the barrier, knocking off the front wing, unfortunately. Then he's blocked Leon from following behind, and that was a little bit problematic, at least for Leon. That won't be fun for him, and that, I think, has triggered the safety car. That was not a retirement, but that has triggered the safety car we've been waiting for. Is it in time for Merck? Yep, everything's coming to Merck at the moment. So they'll come off those medium tyres. They will go on to, I assume, a set of hard tyres. Well, it looks like Ollie and Moist came to blows there. So it's triggered their own safety car ultimately, but they will be held in the pits a little bit longer, and that will be problematic maybe for Sticky. No second Aston Martin in the field, but they will be held a bit longer to have that front wing changed. Actually receiving the penalty to pay here at this stage. That's unusual. I guess that was a contact penalty for him. Ole with the front wing being replaced right now, and he goes past Moist, and they live to fight another day, and they get an almost unsafe rejoin from Atsu. But Ollie and Moist down to 8th and 9th, and the safety car will circulate and will be picked up, and has been, look, by Merck and Ricky. You see, the painted water on the apex of turn 7, the fake marina, is actually moving on the sim. So that's interesting. How did they do that, I wonder? So Merck is P1 with Ricky in P2. Let's take stock as the drivers are on their hard tyres. Everybody has changed tyre on that lap, with the exception of Davy Norris, who's gained places up to 4th position. But I don't know if that's going to work out for him. I guess he can run a little bit longer and hope there's a second safety car. Hi to Robbo. Hi to everybody joining us. It is good to see everybody here today. So wonderful to have everyone back. And I'm glad you're here to enjoy the racing today. Thank you to everyone who takes the time to subscribe and like the video today as well. But subscriptions are what matters, unfortunately, at this time, as well as watch time. So if there's any watching back you can do, that would be awesome. It's lap 12 of 29. Merckx leads Ricky Maru, who has gained 1 position since their start. Then comes Jaffa Jake up 3. David Norris flattering to deceive slightly here because he is up into 4th place and has not stopped. The only driver yet to stop. Leon is in 5th, up 2. ARL up 4, and Atsu up 1, with Ole coming to blows with Moist dropping for 6 and Moist dropping 5 there, with Chuck Norris 1 place up, Sticky down 2, Speedy Spud up 2, Alpha Alex down 9 from his start, but he'll be very happy to see the safety car, and will help him get back on terms with the rest of the league. I absolutely am commentating on GT7 almost more frequently. Well, certainly today. I've commentated 2 races today on GT7, but probably I would say it's even Stevens, given that this is a weekly league and most of my GT7s are less frequently than that. But yes, absolutely. We'll take in the splendour of the Miami paddock here and hope that the thumbnail grabs that while the while the menu was off. We'll get a nice dramatic looking thumbnail, or one that looks good. While I talk about thumbnails, I've tried to update the thumbnails a little bit on the live streams in the couple days post, because we didn't have our formidable Adam Foran here to do them for me, so I decided to make a few, and I hope nobody minds. Try and give the league a little bit of an identity on all of the many videos that we've been doing, but happy to receive feedback on those. So just snaking around and trying to wait for this safety car to come in as we run through, approaching middle distance here of the 29 lap race, thanks to a issue with the formation lap and a problem with getting us going. A bit of a delay, but we're here and we're racing, and that's all that matters. So thank you for everyone who stuck with us patiently. If you're watching back again, I really appreciate that too. There's an Australian flag flying over a sort of make-up gazebo tent thing, open-sided tent. I don't believe we've got any Aussies in the driver lineup here. We'll go around for another lap under the safety car. I wonder if anyone's pitting again. They absolutely are, look. That was one of the Alpines going around for another set of tyres. And I think Alpha Alex in again, so that's medium tyres to a finish. We'll have set all of their tyre compounds to run now. No loss by doing that, of course, other than a few track positions. But this track, not one that track position counts a great deal for, as we get underway then for our restart to come, hopefully at the end of this lap. Robbo says he had Chuck Norris in time trial today, which is great. Great to see community building around for everybody. What a vista. It has a identity of its own, does it not, the Miami Grand Prix? For good or for ill, it definitely is a unique setting. They've managed to carve some sort of unique element out of a car park racetrack. So we get ready then to start our proceedings once again. Let's just double check those tyres. No one's changed anything drastically. Hard tyres for the top 10. Outside of the top 10, we've got 4 medium runners there all together. Thanks, Robbo. Appreciate it. As it's just going to be tick over point for the 15th lap. We are about half distance now, and we wait for that Bernd Mailander starring role to cease. Nobody really cares to see him, but I suppose it helped Alpha Alex and Speedy Spud catch up a little bit, and now the weaving begins. Great action here on track. Again, I'll try and capture a thumbnail here if we can. And that'll be great to see. So let's have your predictions then in the final half of our 7th round of the race. Ricky towards the end of that stint, but it will be a different pedal. He's ahead of Ricky Maru. Jaffa Jake is in P3 and Leon is in 4th position, as we've got obviously different group behind Ricky and Merck this time, and Ricky ready to pounce straight away as they weave through the snaking section of the first sector of this racetrack, running wide to then cut in as tight as possible, and running into lap 10 we go. Ricky Maru waiting for the DRS, but going to try and stay with him as much as humanly possible. He's going to just run in the wheel tracks, use the slipstream, and try and bring these other cars with him and bring them into the fray, because without that, that is 4-way into one, turn 11, and it doesn't work. Unfortunately, it looked like it was Atsu miscalculating on the inside with the lack of grip off the racing line. Some damage potentially for ARL, who had moved forward so well so far in the race. Unfortunately, that all cooked right into turn 11, and it just won't go. You can't get that many cars into one very small apex at this point. Merckx running almost onto the turquoise painted surface that's slightly outside of track limits there, almost down towards the pit wall to stop the tow, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Ricky will try and hold on. Merck will be mashing the ERS deployment button if he's got it so set up, and DRS is now enabled, and we will have some good slipstreaming. That was Merck getting a misjudgment going there into turn 1. Hasn't cost him too much. I thought maybe he would have had a problem. Jessica says Floyd on the podium. You always predict that, Jessica, and I'm sure I know why, but still. David Norris and Ole, and also Leon. You can't have all these drivers on the podium, Jessica. So you think nothing from Merckx or Ricky Maru at this stage. That is a very bold prediction. So purple sector for Ricky as he gets his DRS open. I think the people that know you best, Jessica, know that the live chat is possible to re-enable when they chase you afterwards, so you have to say the political thing. But down into turn 11 they go this time. Is it going to be any cleaner for the drivers, as this time ARL gets locked up, but he does get the car stopped. They just about squeeze their way and navigate through turn 12 this time. There's a hint of some contact there, potentially, for David Norris on with Chuck Norris. He's going to be pitched into the barrier. Father and son having problems, and I wouldn't want to mess with Chuck Norris if I were you, because from what I'd heard, Chuck Norris used to be a kamikaze pilot 7 times, and obviously made it work. Merckx then coming through, and Ricky Maru will get that DRS unlocked. There we go, and it's a fastest lap from Ricky. Is he going to pounce this early? That is very early into turn 1. Does he decide to cede? I think he does. I think kind of forced into that maneuver as Leon moves past Jaffa Jake, or at least defends well to the apex. And we've got Ole screaming through there as well, but he's down in 5th place right now. Ricky Maru, I think, wants a longer DRS usage down the south straight here. It's not a straight, but you know what I mean. You're not braking at all. It's a flat out section on the south side of this car park of the Miami Dolphins football stadium and event stadium the other months of the year that it's not football season. So running hard down towards the turn goes Ricky. Now he may feel that he's better off staying in the DRS zone of the other drivers. Let's just run through, see if there's anything happening here into turn 11. Again, another big lockup from the cars. In fact, a missing car managed to lock up into turn 11. Such is the difficulty of this game at the moment, that the ghost cars that don't even show on screen are locking up into that turn. Merckx keeps running. Ricky is in his DRS zone, and I think just enjoying the ability to harvest down into turn 17 now, and running as they continue to do, line astern through the order. We've got a potential battle happening here, and that is the Haas of Speedy spud down the inside. There is smoke everywhere on the racetrack thanks to these tyres letting go so early and struggling for grip. There goes Sticky down the inside to steal the position there, just as the DRS is enabled for him on the start-finish straight. It does compromise your entry into turn 1, but it's okay. Problem for him, though, is he doesn't get DRS now on the next straightaway. So as we run down, sorry, I've been commentating on an American league and I'm using American terminology and I know I shouldn't in this league, sorry about that. It's straight, it's flat out, it's pit lane, not pit road. We don't say boogity, 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 let's go racing, or shake and bake here. As we run into turn 11 once again. That is Moist, still knocking on the door of the top 5, but that's not where he wants to be, and in neither is this where ARL wants to be, although from a P10 start I think he'll be fairly happy right now, but he would love to get back on terms. Everyone in front of ARL with a penalty, and it's getting over that Max Verstappen Bollard section, I think, that is catching everybody out time after time. Down in the lower order then, Alpha Alex up from the tail of the field with a lap 2 incident, a formation lap incident as well when we had it. But Alpha Alex up to P8 after the safety car. It's working out really nicely for the Scuderia driver as he chases down the V-Carb of ARL, the championship leading V-Carb team, as you know. Then the Red Bulls are at the tail of the field, and certainly take a little clip of that moment because that's certainly unusual. Here they go, running on through, and round go the drivers to take on that famous turn 7. And powering out goes Ricky Maru, looking for the exit with his DRS now, trying to harvest, save fuel for the last part of this stint. 10 to go. Ricky shaping to the inside, just making Merck remember that he's there, because he hasn't had a go for a little while. Try and force Merck into an uncharacteristic track limits penalty here. Another close fought run. Atsu's going dive bombing again, and he manages, well, certainly ARL has been once bitten, twice shy, and leaves a big gap to the apex because Atsu was bonsaiing down into the corner. He's still going side by side, even through the Mickey Mouse sector is Atsu. He is on a tear today, and he doesn't care who he takes with him. I've missed the battle for the lead. Here comes Ricky down to the inside, compromise braking, and releases Merck back through, who does a much smarter switchback than he managed earlier on, and through. Ricky Maru fastest lap this time, despite that huge lockup into turn 17 as we run through, and it is just DRS zone to overtake zone, DRS zone to overtake zone this race all the way through. Speedy Spud holds on ahead of the two Red Bulls at this stage. That's Atsu and David Norris fighting hard. Oh, that is a little bit of something coming off one of the cars. I keep seeing debris flying, and I think that was an end plate this time, but sometimes you just don't see any damage on the cars. You see debris, but nothing missing in the end. And back to the lead then, as Ricky goes down the inside. Now he's using that DRS, and he's giving up a little bit of a slipstream to Merck, who's going to dive on down the inside. It's a familiar sight to see a Kick Sauber, a lime green Kick Sauber, launch one down into turn 11, but for the first time that was Merck, having a bit of a threatening manoeuvre then into turn 11, but Ricky holding on and trying to treat these tyres as gently as possible. You have to expect now that Merck will come straight back at Ricky here. Alpha Alex joins the penalty group. Will Merck launch a dive bomb? Well, he's certainly got a little bit of overspeed here into the corner. Ricky will just take the switch back, the better exit, and presumably come back at him with the DRS down the start-finish straight. But he's slightly hampered, just slightly offline. They're both just half on, half off the racing line. Ricky has the DRS, going to try and sweep round the outside here, but it is compromised, it's slippery, and he holds on, and they're going to do this again as they did in Imola, side by side, a little snap from Ricky, and he just holds on. Again, tremendous respect between these two great rivals. They even did a 100% race apparently in the week, and they still finished. They still ran 64 laps, nose to tail, all the way through. So Ricky has now half a second deficit. GTK is cheering on Ricky as well. GTK, come back to us as soon as you can for your Mercedes team, if not for anything else. But here comes Ricky. Down the inside again, and that almost tangled wheels this time. Merck just putting the squeeze on Ricky, just to try and hold that outside line, hold Ricky to as close to the inside line as possible. For every offense in racing, there is a defensive move that you can make. And Merckx is no front runner, bad racecraft kind of driver. He is the whole package, and these drivers really have to raise their game to race with him. Ricky's going to go for it once again as Merckx takes the middle of the road. Ricky peels to the inside. Merckx does not peel until the very end of the straight. Ricky down the inside, but he clambers over the apex curb. Little nudge on the side pod, but it's not no problem there for both drivers. But Ricky just losing a little bit of momentum as he runs through. A little bit of track time, a little bit of race time there for Ricky lost as he tried to hold the inside line, but partly that was Merckx not allowing him to sweep back to get the best run into the corner. Here comes Atsu down the inside once again. This is hopefully going to be a better move this time for him, but that was expertly done from Davy Norris, who just imagined the apex was a little wider than it usually is, and brake later, got his minimum speed higher, and just cruised his way all the way around the outside. Great move. Has Ricky been able to stay with Merckx this time? I think he has. Here we go. Down into the 11. It's not going to happen this time. Moist and Leon run. Moist is in third position for another podium potentially. Runs and allows Leon through. Ollie goes past Jaffa Jake then. ARL is down in 8th right now, and I don't know why, but Alpha Alex has moved up to 7th. It is just action here in F1 24 with the International Racing League. It's exactly what we want to see as Ricky closes in on Merckx, but is again a little bit shy of making the move this time into turn 17. There's no names for this racetrack. I should probably go ahead and try and name some of the racetracks if I can. And there would definitely be at least one Andretti corner, and I don't care what Liberty Media say. Merckx, we've got Leon, Strike Moist and Ollie, then Jaffa Jake in 6th, Alpha Alex in 7th, and it's super close there in the midfield once again. Moist is leading this group, but Leon is just ahead of him actually now, as Ricky is just a few tenths of a second away from a good DRS run on Merckx. Once again then, nearly 0.6 of a second. They start the South Straight apart, but it will be a lot closer by the time they get down to turn 11 once again. And then we have a huge gaggle of cars coming. I'll see if Ricky makes a move, and then we'll cut back to the next group. No move this time. Moist has the DRS, but he's just too far away, I think, from Leon. Just about consolidating that maneuver now. Any more as we run down. I think they're too far apart, but the Chuck Norris has caught Speedy Spud and will try and make the pass, I think. Let's have a look. Will he make it? He's just not quite there as they all lock up. The problem was for him that Speedy Spud also had the DRS. Back to the front again, and it is still super close. Less than half a second between the two, and they're just not able to make headway here. I wonder if Moist is just collecting himself for a last 5-lap sprint to try and get himself back onto the podium here. And fans of International Racing League that have been with us for the previous seasons will not quite believe what I'm saying, which is that Moist is struggling to make the podium tonight. After dominating this league, but that was before Ricky raised his game, or at least the game adjusted to Ricky's sensitivities nicely in the change to F1 24. I think Moist has been low on practice time. Certainly he told me he hadn't practiced until yesterday this week. So that's partially explaining it. But seat time is all important in sim racing, and hopefully he'll get to grips with this new handling model as soon as possible, because it doesn't feel right to not have the Maestro on top with us once again. So waiting for an opportunity down the inside. He tries again, but it's just not there for him. Davy Norris on his own. He's shed Atsu this time. But those medium tyres will not be in a great state by the end of this race. Chuck Norris on the tail. Looks like Sticky's lost out a little bit there as the leaders come back down the North Straight, down alongside the stadium. side. And again, we run, and it's starting the last 5 laps now. This is where Ricky has been most vulnerable, and where he has picked up track limit penalties for at least 2, if not 3, of our races where they've been the main rivals for the win. Hopefully he's got that sorted, and it is Miami, so there are far fewer chances to run wide without hitting a wall. Let's hear it for Ricky. I know GTK is cheering on Ricky. I know that Atsu, despite being Merck's teammate, will cheer on Ricky whenever he's here in the live chat with us, because we want this title run to close up, and we want Ricky to overcome eventually. Here he is with the DRS. This looks like a good run for Ricky down the inside once again, but he's just not brave enough to go full dive bombing into the corner. There's too much to lose for Ricky. Looks like Moist might do it this time, though, as they head down towards turn 11. Moist into 3rd position now, but then, of course, he will be defending the DRS train behind him. Although that was Leon and Ole coming together at the same portion of track, as one went narrow, one went wide, and they did make contact, and that is definitely going to help Moist. Ricky, once again, then, down towards turn 17. This game, this year, these technical regs, I don't know what it is, but something is making a huge difference to the way that these drivers can run so close together. It's a safety car. I think there's debris in the Mickey Mouse section. I think that's what it is. We've still got all 14 runners. Have you ever seen a sim race on the F1 platform where everybody continues running and we've had 2 safety cars? Into the pits we go then. That's interesting. Mercked, Ricky, Moist, Leon, Ole, Alpha Alex, Jaffa Jake, ARL. No one fancies a run around the outside, and I say that, and then Davey Norris does exactly the opposite of everybody. A bit of a contrary Mary today, Davey Norris, and he's going to go up in the order as Speedy Spurred comes in. So does Sticky and Flo Pink, and then we've got Chuck Norris at the back. How did Chuck Norris end up at the back? Maybe that was the trigger point for the safety car. But Davey Norris back up to 3rd position again because of that pit stop. Leon had a faster pit stop than Moist, and I don't know why that was, but I guess Moist had to wait for drivers pitting behind him. Sometimes that happens. Anyway, Chuck Norris is now retired from the session, so I'm sure that was an issue for Chuck Norris. I apologise, didn't catch what happened to Chuck. As Jessica says, Davey Norris is the dogs. Okay. There was a time when he handled all of our logistics last season. Davey Norris flew the transportation between each race, and that was how he became known as Captain Nike. But he's changed his gamer tag to Davey Norris now. Can we get a petition for him to call himself Chuckle Norris, as in, or Chucklet Norris, or something like that, son of Chuck? But we've got Merck just hassling Bernd Mailander again here. He always does this. He's not shy about telling the safety car to hurry up. Now, if there were a human being inside that safety car, I would say it might have a small outside chance, but quite frankly, a digital Bernd Mailander is going to be even more implacable than the real thing. So, question that decision by Merck to just look. He's trying to make the overtake here. Just concentrate on your tyre warming, Merck. We're going to have a really tight sprint, just a 2-lap sprint to the finish of this race, because we just don't want it to be over, I think, is the problem. Creating drama to the very end, and I'm going to do something I don't often do, and I'm just going to check out the situation. Well, of course, everybody will be on full beans, full boost. Davey Norris on mediums, everybody else on the track on soft tyres. It's not really going to buy Davey anything at all, is it? But it's got him a couple of track positions, and hopefully he can hold on to some of those as we run around the marina. What do you call a fake marina anyway? That's what I need to know now. Let's take the telemetry off now. It's useless to us. Let's have a look at the penalty situation, because that is +6 for Leon, Moist, Jaffa Jake. So Alpha Alex could get himself on the podium here tonight after being at the tail of the field on lap 2. We've got +3 then for the remaining drivers on the penalties. There's some drivers getting it very wrong into turn 11 under safety car Delta here, just forgetting that we might still need to brake occasionally under this very slow speed. So Davey hoping to hold on for as long as possible here to the podium. But I think Alpha Alex is your outside chance here for the podium for the Scuderia. It's all about making this restart lap work for you. Here are the penalties then. Everybody on soft tyres apart from Davey Norris, as Merckx becomes the safety car essentially. And he gets to decide when we launch. As long as he doesn't overtake the safety car before the safety car line in front of the pit lane entry, he can dictate exactly when we go racing. So will it be the apex of 17? No, he slows again. Does he slow just enough to put people off? He does, and he gaps the field slightly. A good restart from Merckx. Didn't cost anybody too much there, as Davey Norris tries to follow, but frankly the front two have been in a league of their own so far this evening, and so far this season, taken everything into account. But lap 28 of 29, the safety car coming in at the last possible moment that it could have done, and we go racing once again as now they queue up to pass Davey Norris, and they've all done so. Leon, Moist and Alpha Alex have all got past. Alpha Alex has picked up a 3-second penalty. That was as it was. ARL still has no penalties on the car and could even be within shout, if he can stay with Alpha Alex here, of that podium position as well. And he would absolutely take that, showing up with 1 minute to spare in the lobby today, and all of a fluster after a vacation. And that is contact, and there's a little bit of something coming off one of the cars there into turn 11. They go. Merckx still leads Ricky Maru at the head of the field, but it is kicking off here in the fight for the final podium position. Davey Norris is in 6th. ARL needs to get rid of him as quickly as possible. I mean, pass him, obviously, not actually like take him out, for example. But here comes Ricky then. It is the penultimate lap of the race. Ricky doesn't want to pass at this stage. I think he'd fancy it down into this corner or into turn 11 if he got close enough. But as they run through, still it is ARL stuck behind Davey Norris here. And he needs to get on the back of Alpha Alex to be in with a chance here of the podium. But it is head-to-head between the front two. We'll keep an eye on the rest of the field, but of course, this is where the big points are paid. This is where the streak is being held for Merckx, and he's pushing so hard. Often you see through turn 3 the cars wiggling around, but that was pretty dramatic, even by those standards. Power out of turn 7, they go. That's a purple sector for Ricky Maru. He is as close as he could be here to try and make the pass. He hasn't got DRS yet, but he's close enough to threaten in the mirrors. Here he comes then, down to turn 11. No further passes. Alpha Alex moves past Leon. Has ARL got through? He has indeed, and following through comes Ollie, but ARL is in 6th, and he's 1.3 seconds away, and everyone in front of him has got penalties except for the front two. Once again, can Ricky hold on to a finish here? A famous finish. This is the last run. This is the last chance. There's no DRS has been re-enabled after the... Yes, it has. It has been re-enabled after the safety car. This is it. Down we go. This is Ricky for the win, for a famous victory here. He's going to try and own the inside line. Merckx runs around the outside. He's still going to be neck and neck for all the way to a finish. 2 more corners to go. Merckx has to hold on. Merckx does it again. Merckx the Merciless with his round 7 win in Miami again, just ahead of Ricky Maru by 0.3 of a second. Alpha Alex moves, but ARL takes the podium position in the end by just 1.4 seconds from Alpha Alex. But Ricky just couldn't do it in the end once again. But 3.5 of a second was all it came down to, right to a finish. Jessica's right. Davey Norris is the dogs, and he finishes with driver of the day. AJ's happy with that. Finishing a clean pair of wheels, a clean set of wheels, I should say, and Merckx waving that Union Jag once again, And back on top of the podium, a slightly dejected looking Ricky Maru, but great points for VCarb. You have to take that with both drivers up on the podium. Merckx continues though. It is now a 6-race winning streak, 6 from 6 that he has contested in the Grand Prix, plus 1 sprint. That was off the chains drama. 2 safety cars, a broken lobby. We had absolutely everything bar a little bit of rain or a hurricane, but a fantastic race. Ricky will take an extra point there for the fastest lap, and a cold comfort maybe at this point, but at least it was super, super close to a finish. Merckx wins once again, and Ricky gets the fastest lap in second, with ARL in third after those penalties were applied. Alpha Alex in fourth, another good result from Alpha Alex. Then comes Atsu, and Davey Norris showed well in the end, only letting a few drivers through on the soft tyres after the second restart. With Speedy Spud in seventh, Moist is the first of the losers in terms of qualifying pace in 8th place. That is very strange to see. Moist in 8th, with Ollie in 9th, Leon in 10th. Sticky, Jaffa Jake, Floyd Pinkel finished, and unfortunately we lost Chuck Norris towards the end. But as you know, Chuck Norris doesn't need to finish races. We will get ready for the next race, same time, same place, next week. This is Webbo. This has been the International Racing League. Thank you for liking the video and subscribing today, and we will catch you on the next race day.